We start with news from KwaZulu-Natal. The province's officials are visiting the scene where 2 grade 12 learners were murdered on Sunday. And a note to our viewers that the story contains some upsetting information. The 2 learners were axed to death in their home that they rented near the school. The government delegation is there, and Newzroom Afrika's Karinda Jagmohan is our eyes and ears on the ground to tell us what it is that has transpired from this visit. Karinda.
Indeed, while government officials have been visiting the families of the girls, Amanda Zulu and Minenhle Buthelezi, both 18, both in grade 12 at the Ginyane High School, both axed to death, their bodies dismembered. One of the bodies were found here in the room they rented, and the other found about 5 kilometers away. Now, Mr. Memela was here and he found one of the girls' bodies. Graphic details: the body was found slumped in this corner. The girls were renting this room because it is a walking distance to their high school. They live quite a distance away from here. Mr. Memela, please, sir, you were describing to us how you found the body. If you can explain, please continue to explain. Please.
Okay, la ngikhona kusekhaya, igama lami nguSikhonyani ngokaMemela Isibongo. Ngithe 8 minutes past 7 ngafoyelwa unkosikazi wamathi phuthuma baba wakaNomandla ekhaya sekunesimo esimbi esingagculisekile kahle. Abantwana labo bahlala ekhaya ba-scream bakhala njengabantu engathi bafake something emlomeni okanye indwangu noma in bahayiza nje. So ehayizeni kwabo ungathi khona umuntu obavalele endlini. Ayike ngidrive nami imoto yami ngigijime ngifoneleke umakhelwane wami ekuthiwa ukhanyile ubhosa kanye nomakhelwane wami ukhazini wami okuwutiki Sosibo. Ngibafice sebekhona la ngaphakathi eyadini. Mangifika bekhona la eyadini ngaphakathi bakuthiwa nje phuthuma uzobheka naso isimo. Wathi ngiyafika la kule ndawo ngikuyona la manje eceleni kwendlu kulele intombazane la le yakaZulu. Ilele ibheke phezulu icandwe ngembazo ikhanda lonke nobuso bonke ngangokuthi ukubuka wami ngamehlo ngathi indawo nje ayikho indawo engenayo inxeba ayishayele kule ndawo engikuyona ke lana. So ngakwathi endapha ungagcina egcineni zingasuka sathi sinokuba kukhanyile no asingalindi ambulance. Asithathe lo mzimba siphuthe elokhuzana esibhedlela ngani ngoba ngihamba ngemoto. Imoto azange icishe ngisho uyicishe. Ngacela ispontshi imana nomqamelo sayifula ingane sayifaka espontshini ngagijima nayo ke. Ngithe ngaphumula ekhaya ukuthi kufanele ngifoyele umzukulu la ekhaya okujalisile kubona oshayela kwa paramedics. Sakhuluma ukuthi sizohlangana naye endleleni nalengane. Ngempela ngiyithatha ingane idrive ke. Mangidrive kuthiwa nomgwaqo phela umnandi awumhlanga mubi. Kodwa ngazama nobugxigixiki lobo ingane ibhampa lapha emotweni evenini. Kodwa sagcina ke sesihlangene neambulance. Sihlangana neambulance hamba awuhlangananga awahlangananga. Bayithatha lengane bese esibhedlela futhi seyishonile.
Memela, lastly, do you still have nightmares? I know you've been for counseling, but do you still have nightmares about what?
Njengoba ngimelana nje isimo sangomgqibelo ngisasibuka nje basenjalo ngoba asikudluki la kumina angikwazi mase siwayipha ngani ukuze sigudlukele emahlweni kumina ngoba isimo sinje ngisasibona sinjalo kodwa ke ngiyile kwi counseling Friday ngacosha ngikucoshile kodwa mhlambe ke kuzohamba egcine kungcono ngoba ngizophinda ka Monday kwi counseling.
Thank you very much, sir, for speaking to us. This gentleman, a community member, was among the first on the scene, and he found the body of Amanda Zulu, 18-year-old girl, slouched here. She was axed to death. She had bruises across her face, and it's believed that she died on her way to hospital. But you can imagine that the scars still remain for this community member who found her body. The girls were renting this room. My colleague Umlungisi Mbalo showing you. It's a bit dark inside, but they were renting this very small room, and there's still a bed here that they were renting in. And simply because they live about an hour each in different homes, about an hour away from here, where their high school is just a walking distance. The community is afraid, and upon speaking to various officials, including the ward councillor, one of the main demands now is to increase police capacity in this area. They say crime like the one they saw is not actually common, and this actually surprised them, the attack that happened. And it comes in the wake of a number of attacks we've been seeing on women. So for them now, seeing the murders of these 2 children, they want more police resources on the ground. There are only 5 police stations to serve this Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma municipality, which has 15 wards. It's a vast rural area. You can take a look around us. And as a result, the other issues here is also transport for learners to school. That is why these children were living alone near their high school, because it does cost a lot, and it does take a lot of time to go to their various schools from their houses, walking distances, public transport. So this very underdeveloped community clearly needs resources in terms of better infrastructure, schools, roads, and now we hear police resources, community policing, as well as we see the gender-based violence pandemic in our country just rising every day.
Absolutely shocking detail to take in. I mean, it took almost an hour for them to even meet up with the paramedics, which tells you the dire state of the roads, as he mentioned, quite bumpy and bad roads. But Karinda, any updates from the police in terms of their investigation? Do they have any leads?
Absolutely. Dudu, the suspect has been arrested. What is interesting, and walk with me as we show you, the suspect was arrested and apprehended. When he was taken into custody, the police then booked him out to find the body of the second girl. Remember, Amanda's body had been found just outside this home. When they were en route to find the body of the second girl, the suspect escaped police custody. He jumped into a nearby river and then hid in a church room nearby, but he was later apprehended. He is now facing charges of murder as well as charges relating to him escaping from police custody, and he will appear in court now on the 11th of August, we understand, for a bail application. But we also hear from people on the ground that this date might change, as it is believed the suspect might abandon his bail application. But of course that is all in the air for now. What communities are at least hopeful about is that the suspect has been apprehended. And what is interesting is that the father of the suspect assisted in having his son apprehended by police, saying that there is no ground for this kind of action to take place, and he also wants the perpetrator to be brought to book.
Just a reminder before we let you go, you showed us where the first body was found. Where was the second body?
So the second body was found about 5 kilometers away from here. It's unclear at this stage the details in terms of how the body was taken allegedly by the suspect to the place where the second body was found, but you can see here and imagine that this is an area that does not have any street lights. It is again a very rural area, so it's unclear whether the suspect used a vehicle or whether he carried this body in the dark of the night. And we also understand that the body of the second pupil, this is Minenhle Buthelezi, was also axed, her body dismembered. And so, of course, during the suspect's court appearances, we will then find out the motive behind this murder and how it unfolded, but more especially how the suspect actually entered this area and why he attacked these children. I also want to remind you that earlier we spoke to the family of Minenhle Buthelezi, the Nchangase family, who took her in because her parents had died when she was younger, and we were told that she wanted to be a doctor when she grew up. She had never failed any exams, and her family had big dreams for her, and they will be burying her later this week.
Karinda Jagmohan, thank you very much for that update.